Yo, what's going on, guys? This is Sid, aka Vicious274, coming at you with another episode of Every Sneaker Pickup Has a Story. So in my last video, I ended it off talking about how I said people are making fakes and selling them as authentics, but it's not really people. Well, people do make them, but they make them in factories, and they've been getting really good at making these fakes. So the one that we're going to be talking about today is the Jordan 4 Cool Gray. This shoe, this is a very interesting story. I'm just going to show you all the ends of it. I absolutely love this sneaker. Again, bottoms are going to be dingy because I wear them. But yeah, this is a beautiful shoe. So now with this particular shoe, it goes back to the Jordan 4 royalties that I did in my last video. It was a shoe that I knew of, but at the time that it released, which I believe was around 2019, again, I liked sneakers. I just wasn't back into that whole building a collection. So I wasn't like too keen on getting it, especially for the price that they were going for at that time. And we'll get into that later in the story. But fast forward a few years, again, after I got my royalties, I told my wife, this is going to be the only shoe that I get, And I was like, thinking about these when I saw them, and I was like, I wonder if I could find these out there. And it was only a couple of years since they've been released, so I was like, let's give it a shot. So I started searching on Facebook Marketplace, and I knew the price of the shoe went up because at this point I knew about people reselling and this, that, and the other. And when I saw this ad on Facebook Marketplace, the price was $180, and it said DS, dead stock, never used. So I was like, really? Because retail, they were like, I think they were going for $245 before tax, and then I think after tax that comes to around like $275-ish, somewhere around there. So I was like, that's kind of odd. Anyways, I hit up the guy on Facebook Marketplace, and I went to go meet him. It was somewhere in Scarborough. And I'm looking over the shoe, and I asked him several times if these were authentic. And he was like, yes, bro, they're no problem, they're authentic. They even had the StockX verified authentic green chip on them. But as most sneakerheads know, those don't mean anything. And I've learned that now. So I'm looking over the shoe, and here's the thing, when you're going to go pick up a shoe that you're really excited to get, there's things that you're going to miss. So if you're going to go pick up a shoe with somebody, stay cool. I've learned this lesson. Stay cool. Thoroughly look it over. But at that time, when I was checking out this shoe, I was just like, man, this shoe is amazing. $180. You said it's authentic. It's my size, 10.5. So I said, you know what? Sold. Gave him the $180 in cash, obviously. And I was super stoked. Went back home. Actually, I went back to my shop because I was working that day. Went to my shop. I even took photos of them, posted them online on my Instagram and my Facebook. And if you're not following me on Instagram, follow me at Vicious274. Super stoked about them. Started going over the comments on the post, this, that, and the other. And then once the excitement settled down and I was a little more relaxed, started looking more over at the shoe, looked in the photos, and I was like, something is off. There's something not right about this shoe. And again, I was new into legit checking, so I missed this one thing, which now should have been a red flag right away, but at the time I was super excited and I was like, oh, I just want the shoe. But I noticed, I Googled some photos of obviously authentic cool grays, and the thing that I noticed that was off was the wings. So on the side wing here, it's a nice suede nubuck material, but on the pair that I got that were authentic, they were like this shiny vinyl faux leather material. And man, when I saw that, I was like, you have got to be kidding me. So I instantly went back on the Facebook Messenger, messaged the guy, and I was like, dude, I asked you if these were authentic. And he's like, yeah, they're unauthentic. And I was like, no. I didn't ask you if they were unauthentic. I asked if they were authentic. And he was like, oh, bro, I'm sorry. I thought you asked if they were unauthentic. And in my head, I'm thinking, yeah, right, whatever, because I asked you several times. But anyways, then I even said to him in your ad, it doesn't state that these are UA, which stands for unauthentic. And he was like, oh, bro, my mistake. I'm sorry. And before I could even ask, he asked me if I had tried the shoes on. And I was like, no. I'm like, what difference does it make? They're not authentic anyway. But anyways, then I said, no, I didn't try them on. And he was like, okay, bring them back and I'll give you your money back. I was like, what? Because honestly, he didn't even have to do that. Even though his ad was technically, well, not technically, it wasn't the right description. And coincidentally, after we ended that message, I went back to his ad and it then stated that it was unauthentic. But anyways, he didn't have to do that. I thought I was going to be out $180 and I wasn't going to sell these to somebody else as authentics because that's just not the type of person I am. I would have probably have kept the unauthentics for like winter beaters or something like that. But the dude just off the hop offered me to give my money back. So I was like, beautiful, awesome. But he asked me to meet him at night. And that's when I was like, oh. Anyways, went to go meet him at night. I know I probably shouldn't have, but he seemed like a legit guy. I would not recommend anybody doing that. But he looked over the shoes. He saw that I hadn't walked in them. They were still dead stock laced. And he gave me my money back. So I was like, awesome. It kind of deterred me from looking for these shoes again. But honestly, when I get something stuck in my head, I go for it. So I went on another mission looking for these shoes on Marketplace. At this time, I don't think I was a member of the Toronto Shoe Exchange on Facebook yet. So I didn't have much luck on Kijiji. So I believe it was Facebook Marketplace. Either way, it was either Kijiji or Facebook Marketplace. And I found another pair, size 10.5. This time, they weren't as cheap. They were used. Now, when I say used, the only thing that was wrong with the sneaker, the uppers were in perfect condition. The only thing was there was some star loss on the toes here. There's a little bit more now because I've had these for a few years, but there wasn't as much. But that was really the only thing that was wrong with the sneaker when I went to go meet up with the guy. And again, uppers were in immaculate condition. Basically, what I did this time was I was, again, excited to get the shoe. They were used. He was asking for $380. And that may seem expensive, but right now, if you want to get this sneaker brand new, you're looking between, I checked StockX, it was about $750 before tax and before fees on StockX. So you're probably looking at about an $850 shoe after fees and taxes. So $380, slightly used, pretty good deal. So I went there, and my wife and daughter were with me at the time, but the guy was running late, so they went off to go do something, get something to eat or whatever, and I waited for the guy. He shows up. He's with a buddy of his, and awesome dude, checking over the sneaker, did a pretty thorough, legit check, gave him the cash, and said, see you later. But the story doesn't end there when it comes to this shoe. In my previous video, I said that I met a lot of cool people during my new venture into collecting sneakers, and this is one of them. When I was checking out the shoe, I wasn't really paying much attention to him. I was focusing more on the shoe. And last year, 2022, SneakerCon came to Toronto. It was my first SneakerCon ever. And I'm walking through, checking out some tables. And I walk up to this one table, and the guy behind the table goes, hey, I remember you. And I looked at him, and I honestly, if he's watching this video, I'm sorry, did not recognize you. I was focused more on the shoe than your face at that time. But he's like, yeah, hey, I remember you. And I was like, you do? From where? He's like, I sold you the Jordan 4 Cool Gray 4s. And I was like, oh my God, you've got an amazing memory. So he was like, and I told him, I said, hey, still got the sneakers, still rock them. And I follow him on Instagram, and I think we've chatted here and there. His name is Copem Toronto, Copem Toronto, all one word. If you're looking for sneakers, the guy obviously is super legit. I did my thorough legit check when I got home too, and I mentioned that in my last video about investing in a UV light. This one I got from Amazon for like 20 bucks. It's a regular flashlight, but if you, right now it's, well, I don't want to put it right to the lens, but if you hit it a couple times, it goes to strobe, then it goes to this purple. And this basically, well, the room should be dark, but it'll let you check to see if there's any flaws or like ghost stitching, if the bubble's glowing, which it should be, and all kinds of other things that you can also learn online on how to legit check a specific shoe. And that's what I did, was I searched videos on how to legit check a Cool Gray 4. So yeah, the guy's cool. His name again is Copem Toronto. He recognized me at SneakerCon, which was pretty freaking cool. And actually somebody else recognized me from Toronto Shoe Exchange at SneakerCon. And then I ran into a buddy of mine who owns a little business called Shoebox, Shoobox, and he does like keychains, pins, posters, all kinds of cool stuff when it comes to sneakers. Saw him there, hadn't seen him in a while, and he shouted out, he's like, hey, Sid! I was like, who's that? It's like, hey, it's Jeff. I was like, oh my God, so I went to go talk to him. SneakerCon was a great time. But again, getting sidetracked. That's the story for the cop of the Cool Gray Jordan 4. But another thing about the sneaker is, I saw it in store. I remember when I saw it in shelves, it was 2019. I believe I was in the Champs. And at the time, retail was $245. So like I said, after tax comes out to about $275, $280, somewhere around there. I didn't pick them up then, which I should have, because a couple years down the road, I ended up buying them used, but still in pretty good condition, for about $100 more. So I said to myself, the next time that I ever see a sneaker on the shelf and I'm like, that's a dope sneaker, I'm going to buy it. But that's another story. All right, guys. Hope you like this episode on the Jordan 4 Cool Gray. Again, if you want to buy this sneaker, I've been saying this in every video. Basically, try to go through a private seller. Third-party apps like StockX and GOAT, they charge crazy fees. And also, you could try going to a brick and mortar store. Sometimes they have reasonable prices, but man, lately it just seems like they're taxing like crazy. So I would recommend either Kijiji, Facebook Marketplace, or Toronto Shoe Exchange on Facebook. Those are my three go-tos. And yeah, so we're gonna talk about my next pickup. I'm probably trying to post these at least once a week. And you'll see what I mean about the whole retail thing. All right, guys, so wear your sneakers, because that's what they're meant for, and keep them loose-laced. Peace.